Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, awesome. How are y'all doing this morning? Yes. Well, give yourselves a pat on the back for coming to a morning session after data night out. I know it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. And I also didn't realize that my session was right after Adam's keynote, which is a tough act to follow, but I will do my very best. So without further ado, my name is Nailan Mehra, and I'm a business intelligence analyst at PepsiCo. And today I'm going to be talking to you about Tableau at scale. So I want to start off with how this presentation came to life. This is my third Tableau conference, and in the past I've always had a great experience with lots of great learnings and takeaways from the sessions I attended. And we realized that PepsiCo is doing a lot of great things that we wanted to share as well. So as the lead and creator of our Tableau user community, we wanted to be able to tell our story. A couple of goals to walk away with is feeling confident in your ability to create or grow your own user community. And if you're an end user, how you can best provide feedback to your COE so they can take it to the next level. Quick run through of the agenda. Start off with our background. What is PepsiCo? What does our team do? And how does Tableau fit into our organization? And then go into our community strategy. How did we plan, implement, and deploy our community? And how are we currently measuring engagement? Next, how do we encourage best practices for dashboard design to all of our users? And finally, how do we take our own teachings by creating dashboards that are being embedded into our own corporate portal? So what is PepsiCo? Does anybody not know what PepsiCo does? So PepsiCo is the largest food and beverage company in North America. Our products are consumed nearly 1 billion times every single day in almost every country in the world. We generate over $65 billion in annual revenue, and I've listed our $22 billion brands below. So each of these brands generate $1 billion in revenue every year. You can find our products in over 200 countries, and we've employed about almost 270,000 employees worldwide. It is our fundamental belief to empower our, to focus on sustainability for our organization, and our strategic mission is performance with purpose. And I'll talk a little bit more about performance with purpose later on in the presentation. And does anybody know who the person in the background is? Couple of guesses? Beyonce. The queen herself. So a little bit about me. I've been working with Tableau for about 4 years now. I previously interned at Ericsson and PepsiCo. I'm the national president for my sorority. I know I look young, but I have hundreds of kids in college, and they keep me very busy. I mentor for Girls Who Code, which is a national nonprofit that teaches young women code and emphasizes an environment of learning and sisterhood. And I'm also a mentor for the Professional Leadership Program, which teaches servant leadership and corporate skills to college students in North Texas. I've grown up in Dallas, Texas, and it's where I'm currently residing. I love traveling and hiking. I'm actually catching a flight out to Tampa right after this presentation. So if you'd like to connect with me, please grab me right afterwards, because unfortunately I won't be able to stick around too long after conference. So a little bit about our team. So our team falls under the Global Data and Analytics organization at PepsiCo, and we're an IT/BI team. We have about 10 folks within our team, and they range from analysts to specialists to managers to Tableau server admins. So our team hosts Tableau server for all of PepsiCo globally, and we're responsible for all the issues and upgrades that occur. I also consider our team as a sort of consulting team where business teams will come to us and with X amount of data asking to see A, B, and C. It's really our responsibility to take that data and provide some different call-outs that they may not have thought about before. And of course, providing that education. So providing support and completing knowledge transfer so they can eventually, we can eventually hand off the project to them. So this is what our environment currently looks like. At the bottom, you can see that in 2015, we had about 100 projects overall on our server. And in 2018, the year's not over, and we have over 800 projects. And they're pretty split evenly between our ITE and production environments, which has led to a growth in our users. In 2015, we ended off with about 500 users, 500 to 600. At the beginning of this year, we were about 10,000 users. The year's not over, and we've already doubled that. And it's with that growth that we saw a desperate need in order to create a user community.
Those users, how many are desktop versus server?
This is all server. Yeah, we have about 1,500 desktop licenses. So our community strategy, a couple of things that we wanted to focus on. One was encouraging collaboration and engagement with our users. We have people all over the world, and so we'll have folks that come to us from Latin America and Europe. It's really, and we want to be able to connect those two groups together so they can work together in solving their own business needs and problems. Training and content. If I had $1 for every time somebody emailed me saying, "Hey Lynn, what are our Tableau training offerings at PepsiCo?" Needless to say, I'd be very rich, but it's a lot easier to send them in one direction versus 5 different areas where I know all the training and content has been vetted and it's good to go. And then finally, global enablement, making sure that our users have the best resources possible. They know what server version we're using and know which version of desktop to use. And so when we were planning on how to kind of create this community and where to let people go, we decided that we wanted to create a site where we could house all this information. And so we ended up going with SharePoint, but we wanted a more customized look and feel, and so we enabled live tiles. So it would be a little bit, so we could incorporate some things that are not only out of the box in SharePoint, but a couple of more things that make it have a customized look and feel. And then finally, we're using Yammer as our collaboration tool, where, for those of you that don't know, it's like a Facebook for organizations. We have a group, and you can post videos, post messages, post pictures, and people can like and comment. And so everybody can interact on one thread. So this is the initial site design that we kind of created. I was able to find the original sketch of our site, but we wanted to focus on 3 main things, and that was best practices, Q&A, and getting started. And then, of course, having all of our training and content in one place. So we took that and turned it into this. And so as you can see, at the top, we have our how to get started, best practices, and FAQs, and this is all PepsiCo created content. So it's not things that they can easily Google and find online. It's things that they would need to come here in order to find for their resources. And on the left-hand side, we have all of our training videos, documentation, functional examples, and calendar. With our calendar, we have our webinar dates and when we're going to be providing server maintenance. And then we have a link to Tableau Public and subscribing to the Viz of the Day, and also an area where they can swap out a license if they're no longer using it and giving it to somebody else that may need it. There's also an area to contact our team and creating a Tableau support ticket. We also have our Yammer embedded into our site, so you can directly post and like comments directly from the site. And then finally, an area where you can vote on, hey, which webinar would be really useful for you? And so when we deployed the site, we received really strong feedback from our Tableau reps, from our end users. We sent out a couple of surveys and asked people how they thought of it, and we got really strong positive results, but we also got some good feedback that we're actually currently working on. So this is currently what our functional example sites look like, and here, if you're in a finance group, you can click in and find some examples of finance dashboards that were actually created by Tableau, and some different ways to visualize KPIs if you're in that group. But some of the feedback we received was, hey, it'd be really great to see PepsiCo created finance dashboards, not just ones created by Tableau. And so it's with that feedback we're continuing to grow our site and making sure that it's user-friendly for our users and they are having the best experience they can. So how are we measuring engagement? Well, I took a data dump of our Yammer activity and put it into Tableau because that's what we do. And as you can see at the bottom, we have hundreds of thousands of messages that are posted every day over the course of a couple of years. We created it in 2016. And you can see the amount of active people we have. We have about 1,500 active people in our Yammer group every month. And a couple of different spikes are usually correlated to server upgrades because there's definitely a lot of conversations that occurred during that time. And so we're able to see what our engagement is, and we want to continue to see that steady uprise and trend. A couple of different screenshots from our Yammer group. So these are our business users that are asking questions of, hey, how do I create a Gantt chart, or how do I refresh a SharePoint list from Tableau? And before we can even really get involved or say, hey, let's do a quick screen share, our business teams all over the world are responding and providing some feedback and even sharing their own dashboards so other people can take a look at and see what they've created. So what are some of our strategies for long-term enablement? Making sure that we're providing webinars and content to our end users at a regularly scheduled basis. The last couple of months, we've done level of detail calculations, cognitive views of visualization, and a Tableau prep hands-on session. And we get feedback from our Yammer and kind of see, hey, here's some inspiration for our next upcoming webinars. I also attended a Tableau roadshow a couple of weeks ago, and they did a demo of Tableau prep. And so once I got back, I shared that with the team and realized that those are different things that we could also be doing in order to best enable our users so they can take the full advantage of the tool sets that are being offered to them. Doctor sessions. So we have our Tableau reps come into our office every couple of months or so, and we take that time to carve out an hour to 2 hours where people can come in and ask us any questions that they want. They can ask our reps any questions that they want and just really get a feel for how Tableau is moving forward, or if they have some more complex dashboards that they want to show us. And then finally, enabling conversations. Making sure that we're posting on our Yammer not just about, hey, this is when the next upgrade is going to be, but making sure we're posting about blogs and articles that we found that are interesting so people continue to collaborate and work together. And then Tableau Days. So Tableau Days are a really fun event where we take a full day and host different sessions with our Tableau folks, and we actually have one coming up in a couple of weeks at our Frito-Lay office, and we're partnering with Slalom. And a typical day looks like an overview of our analytics and BI landscape. A couple of business cases will be shown by our Frito-Lay folks, and then the afternoons are breakout sessions such as technical pitfalls of a creator, how to use a data prep tool, connecting to our data warehousing system. And so they can really take a mini TC 18-day and be involved with some of the different sessions that may correlate to their responsibilities. So how do we encourage those best practices for dashboard design? Well, we have a couple of guidelines that we encourage our users to follow. This is just a quick screenshot of one of the pages, but your dashboards really should be loading in under 10 seconds, and filter changes should not take more than 5. We also encourage no more than 5 quick filters per page. This is just some of the testing that we've done on our end that has really optimized performance. And by working with other teams, we've seen what works and what doesn't. And then usage reports. So we took our server admin reports, manipulated them a little bit, and then published them back out to our end users. They now have access to see what load time performance looks like, not only for their own projects, but for every project in the server. And so it not only keeps them accountable for how long their load time is, but they can take a look and see how long XYZ's team's doing with their dashboards. As you can see, the green dots mean that it's a best practice, so your dashboards are loading in under 10 seconds. It's a pass if it's between 10 to 30, and you're failing in orange if it's taking more than 30 seconds. And so it really lets us take a look and see, hey, maybe we should be helping this team out with their performance. And we can also see how the server is being utilized. There's a breakdown between sectors, workbooks, and projects. So you can see where the most views are and how you're kind of stacking up against other teams and projects and within sectors. And then emphasizing visualization design. It's not only our responsibility to continue providing that content to our users, but we also want to make sure that our users are engaging with each other and providing different dashboards that they're creating and sharing different articles and blog posts that they found. We want to continue educating each other, ensuring what works and what doesn't. So embedding within our corporate portal. There's lots of things that we encourage our users to do, but as a COE, we have to make sure that we're leading by example. And so we had an opportunity to work with a team and create some dashboards that are being embedded into our portal, which is accessible globally. So our fundamental belief is that the success of our organization is linked to the sustainability of the world around us. And our PWP goals are public, and we release an annual statement every single year that shows our progress. So the sustainability team reached out to us, and they wanted to create an internal site where they showed our metrics at a more granular level of detail so that employees can see how we're doing and how progress is being made at a country or sector level. And so we wanted to make sure that we were hitting a couple of these requirements. The main was making sure that global usage. Our CEO should be able to see this just as easily as a plant manufacturer in Timbuktu. We just want to make sure that whether you're on a phone, whether you're on a tablet, whether you're on a desktop, anybody can see this data and play around with it. And making sure that we're embedding content. We don't want just screenshots on a site. It defeats the purpose of Tableau. And so making sure that they can interact with it and use those filters to really dig deep. And then corporate standards. PWP has some pretty strict corporate guidelines with fonts and colors. And we just wanted to make sure that it was a seamless integration with the site so it looked clean throughout. So solution architecture. There was about 3 main teams that we were working with. The business team was working with IT to curate and cleanse the data. And then there was our team, which I led and managed 2 other analysts, and took that data, created some Tableau dashboards, and then provided embedding content to our portal team, which embedded it into IBM WebSphere. There was also a third-party managing consulting firm that did the project management aspect of the project. So this is a screenshot of our site homepage where we list all of our goals in progress. So we have a couple of different pillars: product, planet, and people. So within product, we're trying to make sure we're reducing our sugars, our sodiums, and saturated fat from our product lines. We're also trying to make sure that we're serving 3 billion nutritious meals to underserved communities. Within planet, making sure that we're reducing our water and replenishing water in high-risk areas. Making sure that we're decreasing our greenhouse gas emissions and reducing waste, and working with farmers that are sustainably sourcing their products. And then working with third parties and organizations that are furthering and advancing human rights in all aspects, and trying to achieve gender parity and pay equity. And then finally, investing $100 million into initiatives that support girls and women in all communities. And so a quick look at our planet goals: water, waste, climate, sustainable sourcing. We have multiple goals with different metrics that are covered in each one. At a high level, the business wanted to highlight progress at each metric. So let's take a deeper look into our water goal, where we are reporting on wastewater. So the top graph was the original mock-up the business created, and the bottom is the Tableau visualization that we created. And it shows the baseline, the progress, and our target. It's very similar to the mock-up that we created and clearly shows our growth. And we wanted to make sure that it was simple and easy to understand. So this is a little bit more at a granular level. We can see the progress globally and by sector. The original proposal is on the left, and then our Tableau creation is on the right. We took the bar graph on the left-hand side and turned it into a dotted line, just because we thought that was a better way to visualize that data. So there's also filters here that users can select and see how their sector is doing versus others. So PWP results. Across all of our different metrics, we created over 75 dashboards. And as we update the data, since it's being embedded, we just have to refresh it from the server, and then it's being updated on our site. There's no re-embedded needed, which is great. And then global access. Everybody has access to these dashboards. And we've had a really great response from the site and from our employees that now have access to this information. From end to end, from the Tableau standpoint, it was about 6 months of working with the business teams and the portal team to kind of fully put this all together. So major takeaways: our strategy when we built out our community and what that implementation looked like, and how we're continuing to grow the group. Making sure that we're encouraging best practices by having resources readily available and all in one place. And then finally, performance with purpose. How we took our sustainability goals and enabled our employees to learn more about how we're making a difference in the world. So where do we go from here? I've thrown a lot of information at you, but what are some tangible next steps? Going back to your user group and seeing what they want. What works at PepsiCo might not exactly work at your organization. And so really going back to them and asking them what they would like to see, whether it's webinar content or doctor sessions. You can take that feedback and to grow your own COE. I hope you feel excited and confident in your ability to continue to grow your community. So question and answer, opening the floor. Yes. Yeah, so we can embed into SharePoint, but our portal is on a different platform. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
One of them, so, fairly well built out warehouse, how much of your Tableau content is going directly at your warehouse server or data storage as opposed to?
Other sources of data. So we do have a data warehousing system that a lot of teams use, but we actually have, PepsiCo has grown through acquisitions, and we have data in a lot of different places, so it's not just primarily that one source. They work with a lot of different things, so we do have teams that work with that, but we have a larger number of people working with data coming from other places as well.
So those individual dashboards or things that you're working on, are they mostly from that one?
No. Yeah, it's from a lot of different places, yeah. Yes?
A couple things. First, with regard to your embedding in SharePoint,
Mhm.
we do that with our BI portal, and it works pretty well, I would say. So that's something to explore, and it's a pretty efficient way to get a cohesive branded look and feel outside of just the Tableau server interface without standing up your own site. My question for you is really around global data, especially like your PWP initiatives. It's
Mhm.
not like pure transactional stuff, right? Like
Right.
block usage and whatnot, especially in emerging markets.
Yeah.
Don't always get the best data. So how are you guys either warehousing it or acquiring it, and then how are you getting it into these very macro dashboards?
So the sustainability team worked really closely with our IT data team into taking all that data and putting it into Teradata. The data is continuing to grow, and they want to make sure that they're providing accurate results to our end users. So they actually took those Teradata tables and exported them into Excel and kind of manipulated them a little bit so where we could then connect to the Excel tables and present on that data, because the Teradata data was still being worked upon. Yes.
How many people do you have on your team, and what percentage would you say would be centrally managed as opposed to sort of out dispersed?
So we have about, I would say, 8 core team members. Almost all of us are in Plano, but we have like 2-3 folks up in Chicago. Yeah, we have managers, analysts, specialists, and server admin. Yeah. But we have similar like analytics organizations throughout the company. Yes. So I would say a little bit of both. We do fall under IT, and so we're technically under the IT umbrella, but really our agenda is pushing the business intelligence and making sure that users have the best resources to create and self-serve themselves. Yes?
How frequently are you surveying your users to get feedback, or what methods are you using to get that feedback?
Yeah, so when we initially launched the site back in 2016, we provided surveys. And in that time, we've received a couple of really good responses, but we take a look at our Yammer group and see what are some common themes that people are talking about, and as well as just like word of mouth, being able to talk to those, I guess, like power users consistently, and then hearing what they have to say and some things that they would like to continue to see. Yes?
The content you mentioned that you got from Tableau, where did that come from? Financing.
Okay, yeah, so they're directly from the Tableau website. And so they have different links to Tableau finance dashboards and how to best kind of create those. So they're directly from Tableau. Yes.
So, for forecasting or predictive analysis, and why you choose that?
Sorry, do you mind repeating that?
Which tool do you use for forecasting or predictive analysis, and why did you choose that?
So within the projects that I talked about, we weren't using predictive or forecasting models. Teams do use Tableau's integrated forecasting, but other people are using like R and Python in order to kind of move forward with that. Yes? So it's mainly me, but definitely my team helps me with ideas, and if they have any feedback, we try to make sure that we're working together, but I lead the community strategy aspect. Yes?
Use of concepts that you guys built, is it more of an output from the sessions that you host for the communities, or is it something that you facilitate actively try to get?
Yeah, so it's actually business teams that come to us and ask us, hey, we know of Tableau, we have a couple of people that kind of use it, but can you guys really help us taking this data and taking it to that next level? And so it's really just, like I said, kind of a consulting gig. People will come to us and we kind of provide that back to them and create those proof of concepts.
Do you leverage their teams as well? Or?
Yes, we work with their teams directly and making sure, because we eventually want to hand the project off to them or make sure that they are able to kind of self-serve themselves. So. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
Actually, so your desktop users, are they publishing to the server as well?
Yes.
How do you delineate between what your group is doing versus what your other desktops are?
So how do we kind of keep that content separate?
What do you guys do, or where you sit?
Mm-hmm.
Just the other desktop users, the content that they support.
So within our server, we have about, 800 projects. And within those projects, we've classified them between sectors and subsectors. So we can easily see that is within Europe that this supply chain team is working on this content. So we've already kind of categorized all the different projects that we have on our server between subsector and sector.
So what is the stuff that you guys work on specifically that, boy, we want the BI team to work?
So we'll work with those business teams and give them access to the dashboards that we're creating and create a separate folder for them so they can take a look at that information.
Do you mind me asking, how many servers and cores are you running?
So we have about 92 cores that we're using. Yeah.
Isn't it a little bit difficult to navigate between all 800 points you have?
Well, our server team is really great. Yes, it's a lot of content, but with such a global organization, that's why we've tried to make sure that we categorize everything. So from the very beginning, we have a track of where everything is going and how the sector is being allocated and utilized through our usage dashboards. Mm-hmm.
How do you manage what's very common, diverging interpretations of the same data sets or just redundant activities in terms of groups creating effectively the same dashboards?
Yeah, so that's a tough one. It's really just as we kind of find them, because within 800 projects, it's really hard to keep track of the thousands of dashboards that are being created. But if we do end up seeing something that's being very similar to another project or another team, we try to connect those two groups together so that they can work together and hopefully merge or at least be able to kind of consolidate resources. Yeah. Server updates. So making sure that, so within our server environment, we have dev, ITE, and production. We start off with our dev environment first, kind of test it out. We only have about, I would say, like 20 to 30 projects there, and having those users test out their content there, and then moving to ITE, where it's purely also a test environment, and making sure that it works there. If there's kinks and stuff, we won't upgrade our production environment. So we'll make sure that we're staying in ITE for that particular instance until those problems have been kind of fixed, and then we can move on to the next version. And so we really clearly communicate that through our Yammer group of making sure people are aware of, hey, at midnight, at this date, we're going to be upgrading our ITE environment, so please be aware of that. Yes? That's a great question. So I wasn't the original person that created the Tableau server, so I can't give you a 100% honest answer here. But from my understanding, we just wanted to be able to make it very simple for us and provide, we didn't want to give a ton of power to our end users. We kind of wanted to make sure that we were maintaining everything and had a be able to kind of have a better reach.
What does your onboarding process look like for new users?
So we currently go through an IDM system where people submit requests online, and it goes through approval queues, and then once the approval queues are approved, then there's a system that runs that will add the users to their particular projects. If they want to create a new project, then they have to email a spot box, which is just a group of people within an email, and our Tableau server admin team kind of handles that request. And we have it through an Excel spreadsheet where we've created, and it's all drop downs and stuff, so it's very simplified, and they're not writing crazy things on their onboarding forms.
How do you deploy desktop? Do you try to keep that a consistent version?
So when people download Tableau Desktop, within our Yammer group and within our SharePoint site, we have listed very clearly which versions our servers are on, so our IT and production environment, and we try to make sure that they're on the lowest level so they can be able to publish and work with all versions of server. But we just try to make sure that once they are onboarded or download Tableau Desktop, they get an email saying that, hey, by the way, this is the version of Tableau we're using on our server, so preferably use this as well for desktop. Yes?
There's a sustainability dashboards. Are they're embedded in a portal internal only, or do you expose that to customers too as well?
As of right now, it's internal only. Yeah.
Made any of your dashboards externally facing or mobilized?
As of right now, I don't think we have anything that's externally facing. The sustainability team may take a look and say, hey, this is something that we want to share on our public site, and then at that point we would be able to share. But there's other teams that are working with different clients and vendors that do have dashboards that they share publicly. I think, was there one last hand? Oh. Do you mind repeating that question one more time? Sorry. Uh-huh. Yeah, so we have a couple of teams that try to publish data sources that have all the information, all the data vetted, and where it can be accessible by other people. So we really work with published data sources to have like that single source of truth, so everybody can kind of take that and create their dashboards on top of it and know that the data is validated and correct. Mm-hmm. Yes?
So you said 92 ports, what type of currency is that?
So that's a great question for our server admins. You can grab me afterwards and we can talk a little bit more about that once I grab them.
And then I have one other question. So with putting the embedded content in the portal,
Mm-hmm.
you're having performance issues like now that people are formatting and more people are not doing it.
So as of yet, we haven't had any performance issues. As the data continues to grow, we've only had about like 2-3 years of data so far because we started our initiatives in 2015, but our goals are all the way to 2025. So potentially, maybe around 2025 area, we might see some performance issues, but as of right now, we haven't seen anything. Yes? Yeah, primarily global. Our production environment's on 10.5.5. Any other questions? These are great. Yeah.
So for your 1,500 desktop users, do you license them individually?
Yes.
Who approves those and pays for those?
They're managers.
So you charge that back, or that all comes out of the individual?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct.
You start
Yeah, go ahead.
as well? Or how do they, how do they get approved? I mean, you put them through a test or something to certify that, yeah, you're good enough?
No, but we probably should. They go through a purchasing system within our organization that they can put it to their cart, and then they get manager approval, and then once they get a manager approval, they get that email that lets them download the product with their product key. But we don't have any type of reassurance that, hey, they...
You're doing the core license?
We're moving towards a CPU-based licensing, but we're doing core licenses we're doing core licenses right now.
So that's, is that what's calling that the legacy licensing now, so are you gonna be converting over to the main rules?
As of right now, we're going to stick to the legacy version. Not sure how we're going to move forward, though. To be determined.
Sorry, just a little feedback. That slide you showed on the user portal was great, great work.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? 20 minutes left. Yes.
Maybe a little off topic, but does your team manage data governance, and how is that managed throughout your organization?
So we don't directly handle data governance, but we do work with a lot of teams that may have some issues with their data, and the first answer is, oh, Tableau is wrong. And so just kind of taking a step back and working with their data system, but we do have another team that kind of handles making sure that data is being governed. Yes? Yeah, definitely. Give me a couple seconds. Oh. So this one? Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Can you provide some example resources that you use in your one-stop shop training portal? Like, what are some examples?
Yeah, so within the top 3 tabs I talked about with the best practices, FAQs, and how to get started, those were all things that our team created just because within FAQs, there's so many different things that people ask us all the time, and we were kind of able to take that content and put it into one place. And then how to get started, so making sure you know where to download desktop, what are your next steps, what are some trainings that you should be taking in order to make sure that you're a good Tableau user, and making sure that they understand our server system, so when they do publish out, they're taking those best practices forward. But those are things that I can potentially share with you if you want to send me an email after. Yeah. Anything else? All right, were you able to get that picture? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for the session. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you guys have safe travels back home.